Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Likon Onobanjo. The top stories at this hour. Security, climate change, top agenda as Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum begins. Nigerian government deports 828 foreigners, tightens border security. ECOWAS keeps borders open for Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. Details to come your way shortly. We start by telling you that the 5th Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum is ongoing at the moment, with security and climate change among the key issues on the agenda. The local organizing committee, chaired by Baba Malamwali, finalized preparations for the 3-day summit hosted by Yobe State. The forum aims to develop concrete strategies for lasting peace and sustainable development in the Lake Chad region, while he reaffirmed the state's commitment to fostering regional cooperation and economic growth. With stringent security measures and comprehensive health services in place, the summit brings together regional leaders and stakeholders to address pressing challenges, including security, humanitarian aid, and economic recovery. This year's theme is Rebuilding the Lake Chad Basin, Commitment to Peace and Development. Now, the African Development Bank has approved funding for a critical feasibility study to explore recharging Lake Chad, as announced at the pre-forum joint press briefing of the 5th Lake Chad Governors Forum in Maiduguri. This move comes amid growing optimism following research indicating that the lake surface area is gradually increasing. The Central Sumara Karawa completes the reports.
From the top, a view of the Lake Chad, a major water source for millions in the Sahel region. It serves as economic multiplier and means of survival for families depending on fishing and irrigation farming. The Lake Chad Basin, which is said to have witnessed significant shrinkage over the past decades due to climate change and unsustainable water use, is showing signs of recovery according to recent research.
2014, right up till now, we will say the lake is regaining the surface area. So as of last year, we had 16 to 17,000 square kilometers of waters in the lake. Now, there are details that we can share, but we are monitoring the surface area of the lake. I'm happy to announce, we just recently got approved funding from the African Development Bank to conduct the feasibility studies for this project. The project was approved in November, and we are starting implementation this year. So we are going to do feasibility studies to do the improvement of the hydraulic capacity of the Shari and Logun system and of the Komadugu Yobe, and also of the lake. So those studies are going to start. And we hope once this is done, then we're going to come up with an investment plan which the countries are going to support in terms of dredging and making sure that the lake is reconstituted.
This is said to form a major part of discussion by experts as governors of the 8 states in the 4 Lake Chad countries of Nigeria, Chad, Niger, and Cameroon, as well as policy makers, among others, converge for the 5th Lake Chad Governors Forum.
Day 1 will begin with an in-depth analysis of current security and humanitarian trends in the Lake Chad region. It will be followed by a review of the regional strategy for stabilization, recovery, and resilience, where stakeholders will explore updated strategies and implementation tools and the funding mechanism enriched by insights from traditional rulers and expert discussions. Key initiatives include the Stabilization of Development Fund will also be launched, underlying the importance of resource mobilization for sustainable peace building.
Hosted by Yobe State Government, the 5th Lake Chad Governors Forum is a platform to strengthen regional cooperation and address pressing challenges in the Lake Chad Basin, including stabilization, recovery, and resilience. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umori Kirawa.
We also tell you that President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja from Tanzania, where he participated in the Africa Heads of State Energy Summit in Dar es Salaam. The president was received by top government officials, including the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, among others. The two-day summit was hosted by the government of Tanzania in collaboration with the African Union, the African Development Bank, and the World Bank Group. Well, let's talk more about the summit, where the Africa Development Bank has pledged $40 billion to help the continent achieve its energy goals, which aims to provide electricity for 300 million residents by the year 2030. The objective, known as the Dar es Salaam Declaration, was agreed by several African states, including Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu, at the recently concluded Africa Energy Summit, which was held in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Away from that, activists under the End Bad Governance movement on Wednesday stormed the Federal High Court in Abuja, demanding the immediate release of activist Omoyele Sowore. Amid a heavy police presence, one activist expressed frustration over what it described as misplaced priorities by the authorities. The demonstrators insisted that Sowore, who remains in detention, should either be brought before the court immediately or released if no formal charges have been filed against him. Beyond Showore's case, the activists also called for an end to what they termed the weaponization of the judiciary against government critics. Despite the strong security presence, the activists vowed to continue their advocacy until their demands are met. Now, News Central's Joshua Marai joins us from the court premises to give us more updates. Joshua, good afternoon to you. I'd like you to intimate us with the, of course, situation has been recorded at the court premises.
Well, good morning, Lekon. As I speak currently to you, I am currently at the Federal High Court in Abuja, where there was an earlier demonstration by some members, residents of the Federal Capital Territory, demanding that Sowore is tried immediately, brought to court or before a judge of jurisdiction, or being released unconditionally. But however, we was in the courtroom this morning where Sowore was brought before Honorable Justice Liman, and several proceedings and several back and forth was recorded, and I will be giving you an update of what really transpired in that courtroom. So this morning, the prosecutor, that is the person of M.U. Jonathan, who is standing as the prosecutor for the IGP, actually brought an amended charge of 16 counts and amended charge before the Honorable Justice Liman, and he asked the court to withdraw the other count charge that was presented to the court yesterday, that was filed before the court yesterday, and substitute it for a new count charge, a 16 count charge that bordered around an attempt to smear the name of the Inspector General of Police, and using that is the person of Sowore, using his personal social media handle for an onslaught against the Inspector General of Police.
I think the legal counsel representing Sowore would be approaching, most especially this new indictment against Sowore.
Well, based on what we hear so far in the courtroom today, the counsel representing Sowore, that is the person of Marshal Abubakar, actually asked the court to grant his client's bail, but based on legal technicalities and the kinds of legal gymnastics we are seeing these days, a very, very interesting case was presented before Justice Liman, where a previous case of an oral bail application was made before the court, and to support it, the counsel representing Sowore presented another bail application, a formal bail application, that is making it a hybrid bail application. And the person of Justice Liman made it known that this is the first time such technicality is happening in this courtroom, and this is setting a precedent for other court cases that we'll be hearing. But however, the counsel representing the IGP actually asked and prayed the court to give him a 48-hour deadline to prepare for the bail application that is being heard, that was supposed to be heard today. But the judge, in his wisdom and in all his knowledge, actually told the counsel representing Sowore to intimate the counsel representing the IGP to agree on a suitable time for the bail hearing, and the time of 3 p.m. has been slated to hear the bail application. by the council representing the person of Omoyele Sowore, who is facing, who is standing before Honorable Justice Musa Liman here in the Federal High Court in Abuja.
Okay, so we'll be waiting to get more details as regards that. But before I let you go, Joshua, the activists talked about the weaponization of the judiciary against the government critics. Tell us what that is about.
Well, based on what we hear and what we are seeing so far, the case is the judge, the justice, and the court has granted fair hearing to both parties. What the protesters were earlier implying was the fact that the IGP and the police has repeatedly used the Cybercrime Act as a tool, a mechanism to bring so many people before the court on cases bordering on the alleged cases of cyber assault, cyber attack, and the likes. But however, that is not what we see so far in this in the court this morning, as we can experience fair hearing from the mouth of the justice who is in charge of this case.
All right, thank you so much, Joshua. We'll definitely keep tabs with you to get details as regards the court proceedings, rather, even as it goes down today. It was nice talking to you anyway. Thank you. Let's move away from judicial stories and talk about Lagos building collapse. But then we'll bring you more details as regards that after this short time out. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us. We tell you that a two-story building has collapsed around the Aja area of Lagos. According to eyewitnesses, the building, which was still under construction, came crashing down at about 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Witnesses say they cannot confirm the number of casualties, but they believe 6 people were pulled out, but 2 had died. Earlier, our correspondent Bernard Akedi joined us from the site of the collapsed building.
About 7 people were pulled out of the rubble, 5 have been taken to the hospital, and 2, unfortunately, casualties who have passed away. However, the people we met there at the site of the collapse said it's possible that there could still be some more bodies under the rubble. Got to confirm. Some of the people there said it's possible that there may still be some bodies underneath the rubble. We cannot confirm that, but we know that it was difficult getting here, first of all, because the information that was put out on social media was not exactly accurate. Some of the information we got was saying it was a Chevron Drive. Some were saying Aja. I even saw one saying Vulture Estate. I've never heard any place like Vulture Estate before. Eventually, before we were able to get here, and then unfortunately, our live transmission was cut short. Or actually, we were not even allowed to go live by estate management, and that's why we're standing outside here.
And away from that to immigration issues, the Nigerian government has deported 828 illegal migrants in 2024 as part of its intensified efforts to curb irregular migration and bolster national security. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo announced the developments during a media briefing in Abuja. He also revealed that 137 victims of human trafficking had been rescued, while significant strides have been made in modernizing border and immigration systems. Key reforms include the establishment of a central visa approval center, the construction of Nigeria's largest data center, and the integration of Nigerian passports into the International Civil Aviation Organization database. To further enhance security, a new command and control center has been set up to enable real-time monitoring of all entry points. These efforts have contributed to the seamless processing of over 1.8 million passports in 2024. We talk education now. Earlier this month, the Nigerian government introduced 15 new vocational trades, including plumbing, makeup, hairstyling, and more, into the basic education curriculum. The initiative aims to equip students with practical skills and enhance their employability in a rapidly evolving job market. The newly added trades include tiling and floor works, POP installation, event decoration and management, battery and confectionery production, interior design, GSM repairs, satellites and TV antenna installation, amongst others. New subjects such as CCTV and intercom installation and maintenance, solar installation and maintenance, garment making, agriculture and processing, including basic digital literacy, have also been introduced. These changes officially took effect in January 2025 across schools nationwide. But the key question remains, will these new additions be sufficient to tackle joblessness in the 21st century? And so to discuss this further, we're joined by an education expert, Abdullahi Bature Mohammed, who is the CEO of Scholar. Thank you so much, Mr. Bature, for joining us on the news.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
First, let me get your thoughts on the inclusion of vocational training into Nigeria's basic education.
Well, I think it's a step in the right direction. The current minister, I know him as a hard worker. I met him, sometimes last year. You need to do that if you must prepare, learners for the future of work. I also have the privilege to speak to a very senior management member at the NBTE, National Board for Technical Education, and he intimated me about their national skill qualification framework, and I thought that's really, really important. People are usually looking for government jobs here in Nigeria, and not only government jobs, the jobs of the future. If the smart Nigerian young adults are becoming innovators day by day, we will need these technical hands to actually build companies like our own local Tesla. So I think it's a very, very big step in the right direction.
Okay, so, but then if we're going to probably do a comparison, looking at Nigeria and the global world, so to speak, would you say that Nigerian students are being academically prepared now for the 21st century jobs?
No, I would say absolutely not. There's a research by UNESCO that says 16% of Nigerian graduates, don't have employability skills. They cannot be employed. So it means that our schools are not doing, the job that is required to prepare learners for future work. And education, like we know it, doesn't have to be the normal rote learning approach and the way that me and you or our parents learned. The world is a global village today. A lot of young adults are leveraging on STEM skills and the ability to just learn something on YouTube to create new jobs, but that nobody, is being taught how to do those jobs in school. So I'd say no, we're not ready. But then I'll have to give kudos to, the NERDC, thinking of, always revamping these curriculums. I hear there's going to be a digital literacy inclusion into the curriculum coming September. And I know the efforts that Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, is doing around supporting learners in their model smart schools, building curriculums like the design thinking, coding, robotics, and artificial intelligence, trying to sort of prepare the learners for these future jobs.
So now that we are seeing some sort of reforms coming on board in Nigeria's education system, could there be barriers to this initiative?
Absolutely. So the first barrier is funding. We need to fund, education more than we're doing today, because efforts around the normal education that we pass through, the investment around the technical, education that the minister is championing today is very, very, very important. Not everybody may get, formal education to the tertiary level. You could pick up these technical skills, but if this NSQ, or should I say National Skill Qualification Framework that NBT has is, more spending and priority is given to that, more certification, more introduction into national tertiary institutions and even secondary schools, we're going to see more. Some barriers are, are policies that are not implemented. We change these curriculums every time, but the implementation is a big problem. I also want to say that, yes, the national NERDC may be doing their job, but states have to take ownership to say, this is where we want our learners to go, and actually customize state-owned curriculums that supports them. And you really, really need huge investments to drive that.
Okay, so how do you expect Nigerian educators to be trained and empowered when we talk about these reforms and these emerging technologies?
So first, we don't even have enough teachers to support this. First, you want to start with big investment around supporting teachers to support learners. We have shy of 1 million teachers in Nigeria. We need at least 30 million by 2030, at least that's what the data is saying. You need to teach them on digital literacy. I love what NIDA is doing around the digital literacy framework, but we can do more. You need to teach them about AI literacy, right? AI literacy so that they can be able to leverage on these emerging tools and technology to upskill, because I believe that artificial intelligence is here to help us, bridge, a lot of education gaps and divide. For example, our tool and what we've created at my company, Scholar, Corey, helps teachers, regardless of their expertise, create lessons, lesson plans, and assessment questions. Okay. We've also added some.
We just need to wrap up on this because we have other stories coming about. But then before I let you go, we're actually looking at, how to integrate global standards into Nigeria's curricula. Is this something that Nigeria can achieve? Because earlier on you talked about deficits in the number of teachers within the education system, and some people will wonder if it has to do with the kind of training they have or the conducive environment that seems not to be available in the country.
Well, I don't believe we need our content to be global standard. It should be our own Nigerian standard. So if we're deliberate about where we want to go, for example, we want to invest in skill education, we invest in that, but then we train teachers to be specialists in that regard. Also, teachers need motivation, better pay, for them to be able to concentrate and learn these new skills to support the learners.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the news. We appreciate your contribution, sir.
I'm excited to share this, and thank you for having me.
Okay, so we'll bring you more stories, and one has to do with Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, who have officially left the regional bloc. More details of this and other stories will be coming your way in a short while. So stay with us. Many thanks for being there. Let's talk about regional developments. Governor Diri of Plateau State has emerged as the chairman of the South-South Governors Forum. Diri, a serving two-term governor, emerged at a meeting of the South-South Governors Forum held in Inagua, the Plateau State capital. Governor Diri, who read a communique issued after their meeting, expressed the readiness to work in the interests of their states and the South-South region, stating their commitment to fostering unity, strengthening collaboration, and pursuing sustainable development for the region. Meanwhile, the South-South Governors Forum has once again called for regional security outfits to curtail the security challenges confronting the region.
Mr. President, for the ongoing work on the East-West Road, the Forum emphasized the need to expedite action towards the completion of that road. This will facilitate movement within the region, noting that it is the major road that links all the South-South states. The Forum further requests the federal government to urge relevant stakeholders and agencies to extend the remediation of polluted environments ongoing in Ogoniland to other impacted communities and states in the region. The Forum calls on the federal government.
And so we understand right now that Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, is delivering a speech at the 5th Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum. Let's take a listen.
Tax reform bill, and the Forum further urged Mr. President to extend the proposed VAT sharing percentages to other areas of derivation, such as...
Time for action. We want to see the Lake Chad fully back. We want to also appeal and thank you for the support to the multinational joint task force. It is a success story. But we want to continue to do more and we can only do more if we get more support. The kinetic and non-kinetic actions must go together, and that is the only way we're going to get results. Mr. Vice President, sir, I want to say a very big thank you, Your Excellencies. I want to also repeat that the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies are here all the way to ensure that the Lake Chad region is fully back to its course. I'm very happy and glad to hear that the governor of Diffa is here. I want to assure him and all members that we are one family. There is no dispute between us that cannot be solved. So it is our appeal to them to ensure that they come back fully into the fold so that as brothers and sisters we can continue to forge forward for the good of Africa. Challenges will always come, but we shall prevail. The good people of the Northeast have shown resilience, that despite years of challenges, of hardship, of difficulties, they have remained strong and determined. And together we shall succeed. Thank you very much.
A bigger round of applause, please, for the man who leads the soldiers and the armed forces that continue to sacrifice. As we get ready to invite His Excellency, can I ask the media to come and set up? You know, media, I understand you want to set up your cameras in readiness for His Excellency's speech. Okay. As Executive Governor of Borno State, His Excellency Distinguished Kashim Shettima, GCFR, hosted the first ever Lake Chad Governors Forum right here in Borno in 2018. It is therefore with gratitude for the leadership he continues to provide for rebuilding the Lake Chad region, now as Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, that we welcome him to this 5th edition of the Lake Chad Governors Forum as representative of His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Excellency, we are ready for you. Welcome.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Far North Region of the Republic of Cameroon, Alhaji Mudiyawa Karibi. Your Excellency, the Governor of Lago in the Republic of Chad, General Sade Hagar Tijani. Your Excellency, the Governor of Diffa Region in the Republic of Niger, Brigadier General Muhammadu Ibrahim Bagadoma. Your Excellencies, the Deputy Governors of Borno and Yobe State, the elder statesman Ambassador Babagana Kingile, and I express my allegiance to Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to you, Senator Ahmed Ibrahim Lawal, PCOS, as my point of reference to recognize and appreciate all members of the National Assembly. The National Chairman of the NEC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Gandhi, the Secretary of the Lecture Commission, Ambassador Muhammad Nuh, my colleagues in the Federal Executive Council, Your Excellencies, I crave your indulgence to recognize and appreciate all our royal fathers present here through his eminent Bishop of Borno, Alhaji Dr. Abubakar Ibn Umar Al-Amir Al-Thani, and the Emir of Africa, His Royal Highness Alhaji Abani Muhammad Ibn Idrisa. Heads of government agencies and parastatals, I'd like to use Mr. Muhammad Paul, UN Assistant Secretary General, and the humanitarian coordinator in Nigeria, as my point of reference to recognize heads of international agencies, civil society organizations, and non-governmental organizations. I'd like to use the Ambassador of the Republic of Egypt to Nigeria, Ambassador Mohamed Power, as my point of reference to recognize and appreciate all our esteemed diplomats present here. The chief of the Defense Staff, General Christopher Gardner, was once the theater commander here in Maine. He compared that God elevated him to the higher minister. And I would like to use him as my point of reference to recognize and appreciate all security heads of paramilitary organizations that are present here. To our esteemed legislators and members of the Executive Council from Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa State, my points of references are the secretaries, the governments of Borno and Yobe State, and the speakers of the Houses of Assembly of Borno and Yobe States. Members of the diplomatic corps, once again, members of the press, honored guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The lecture region is not a peace, and neither should we be. This for me is land of opportunity, will bind together the destinies of nations, having challenged in ways that defy our shared history over the past decade and a half. The chain of events disrupting the stability of this region reminds us of why we need one another more than ever before. These challenges demand that we wield power responsibly to guarantee the safety and prosperity of our people. I am delighted to join this quest for a collective and objective response. The successes we have recorded in returning threats to our borders and sovereignty by non-state actors owe much to the joint missions we have embarked upon. These hard-won victories are a testament to the strength of our cooperation. As such, the guarantee of peace must remain paramount, even when domestic politics or policies seek to undermine the nobility of our agreement to serve the people. We must not allow the geopolitical tensions across the world to sow discord amongst us, nor should we permit ourselves to become tools in any of the agenda. The stagnation of the entire region is neither in Europe nor in the Americas. It lies in the hands of all those gathered here today. The supposed representatives of this forum embody not only our collective will to protect the region, but also the transformative potential that stability brings. The true enemies remains the non-state actors, those who exploit weak borders, poor governance, and fragile economies to challenge our claim to civilization. However, the worst threat we may face is not the insurgents of terrorists and authoritarian humanity. It is the absence of cooperation, sincerity, and fidelity to our shared pact as brothers and keepers. We undermine this pact when we renege on agreements to secure our borders, when misinformation and falsehood breed distrust, and when we jeopardize the freedom and choices of our people. Yes, The region has been severely threatened by Boko Haram and the so-called Islamic State in West Africa province ISWAP. Yet none of these groups stand a chance against the collective strength of the state, let alone a multinational arrangement such as ours. Together, we hold the power to shield the defenseless and protect innocent lives. The very foundation of our humanity and our living. Every part of the world is grappling with its own unique challenges as conflicts rage and global struggles intensify. Global military expenditure has reached a historic $2.4 trillion in 2023, with no signs of slowing down. These figures reflect the resurgence of hard power and the fractures definitely in our international order. But let us not forget that hard power, detached from the moral imperatives of justice and diplomacy, only widens the very divides it seeks to preach. Your Excellencies, your Royal Fathers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our response to this threat must be multifaceted. While many solutions are indispensable, they must be complemented by strategies that address the root causes of our existence: poverty, inequality, and lack of opportunity for our youth and women. It is a tragic irony that Africa, a continent with the youngest population in the world, sees its youth become cannon fodder to destructive ideologies and the drivers of conflict. This is the challenge before us: to transform the demographic dividend into a force for good. Power's true essence lies not just in its position, but in its application. Hard power may secure others, but it is soft power through diplomacy, culture, and shared values that builds faith and binds us together. This is a vision that the retired governors grown 60%. Whether through our collective commitment to the African continental free trade area, or our contributions to advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, we must adopt partnerships that benefit us all. The choices we make today will echo through generations, shaping the future of this region. What binds us together supersedes whatever that divides us. Irrespective of differences in our political affiliations, religious persuasion, tribal or sectional backgrounds, let us as a region collectively choose into one to face our common enemy. Our common enemies are poverty, institution, and lack of opportunities. Once we engage youth, once we create opportunities, these madness of Boko Haram, of ISWAP, will evaporate. On this note, on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, ECFR, I hereby declare open the 5th meeting of the May our deliberations be fruitful, our resolutions bold, and our actions transformative. Thank you.
Another round of applause, please, for His Excellency, who thinks about the things that bind us are bigger than the things that divide us, and collectively we can work on making our life better. Avec une fois de plus, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close.
So we just listened to the speech of Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima at the 5th Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum currently ongoing in Borno State, and while eulogizing the support that has been garnered so far from the different regions, countries and security apparatus in the country, he also lamented the need for more collaboration and cooperation to tackle terrorism along the northern regional belt. And he said that it's time to discuss ideologies that will transform the regional landscape for enhanced security and, of course, bring about economic prosperity for the region, most especially the northern part of the country. And, of course, he talked about the need for unity if we are going to be dealing with the issue around insurgents in the north. And that is quite the size of what the Vice President said in his speech. And of course, we hope to bring you a detailed verse of this particular forum in our subsequent bulletins. We go on a very short break, and when we return, we'll continue with the news. Well, before we're done with the news, we're going to do a quick wrap looking at the events playing out at the 5th Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum in Borno State. And of course, we have our international correspondent, Adeshawa Josh, who has been documenting the event. She will be giving us updates. Now, Adeshawa, good afternoon to you. I'd like to take your response as regards the speech delivered by Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima.
Thank you so much, Lakon. You can probably hear the national anthem going on, and I don't know how much of speaking I'm allowed to do without disrespecting the national anthem, but I'm just going to put it up here. The Vice President mentioned and started his speech with the fact that Borno, shall I say, the Lake Chad Basin is not at peace, and that the entire Lake Chad Basin countries, the leaders, should be a peace island. And the irony of that statement is that the state that we are in right now, if you look at the plate name, it says the home of peace. So you can see that there is a concerted effort from the leaders of the Lake Chad Basin region, namely Niger, Cameroon, Chad, and Nigeria, to restore what used to be the normalcy in this city and this region. Lake Chad Basin used to feed 60% of the population here. And now what you see is that now that the basin has pretty much almost dried up, and you have gross underdevelopment, and you have this whole climate crisis and Boko Haram insurgency, this compendium of issues has basically made it impossible to restore peace in this region.
I'd like to, before I let you go, I'd like to get a feedback from you, from representatives of countries like Niger, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, and even Chad, who are actually at the event, what their own mean or disposition is to discussions around recharging the Lake Chad Basin.
All right, so I'm going to start with the fact that Chad and Niger have officially kicked out what used to be their fallback when it comes to fighting insurgency. They depended a lot on the French military, and they have kicked it out. And so what some of both these countries are now doing is they're looking at collaboration around their borders to see how they can kick out criminal activities. So the MNJTF, which was formed, which is the military force formed by the Lake Chad Basin countries, has now become very paramount for all the countries of the Lake Chad Basin. Chad and Niger are actively involved in the strategies and the policies of the regional stabilization, of the recovery and resilience policies that are putting together to make things work. I'll break it down for you. They want to address the humanitarian crisis. When they address that, they want to be able to make young people around here go back to school, have some kind of means of livelihood that may not be agrarian, because because this community here is mostly agrarian, fed by the Lake Chad, the basin itself.
Okay.
So yeah, Chad and Niger have been actively involved at a time when they've kicked out military, the French military from the region. They want to see how they're going to harness the collaboration with the other countries that are neighbors around their borders.
All right, thank you so much, Additional George, for the updates. We appreciate that. And that's the end of the news at this hour. Up next is sports. I am Lekon Obanjo.